4e is using the discriminant to determine the number of solutions. So you find the discriminant in the quadratic formula. Discriminant is the b squared minus 4 times a times c. And this can be used to find the number of outcomes and what type of solutions they are, or what the outcomes and types of solutions. So the outcome, if b squared minus 4 times a times c, if this is a positive number, then your solutions are both going to be 2 real solutions. If the b squared minus 4ac is a negative number, this is going to lead you to 2 imaginary solutions. And if it comes out to be 0, then, so if the answer is 0, it comes out to 1 real solution. Okay, let's get into a couple problems on this. So state the type and number of solutions. So first you have to do is first thing you have to do is get into ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we have to make it equal 0. I also tried to make the a positive. A lot easier to solve quadratic using the quadratic formula if the a is positive. So I'm actually going to move all the terms to the other side, making that n squared, which is the a x squared, making that positive. Minus 16, make it 0 on the left side instead of 0 on the right. That gives me an n squared minus 7n. 8 minus 16 is negative 8. So my a is 1, my b is negative 7, my c is negative 8. Now let's use this into the discriminant, the b squared minus 4ac, to see what type of solutions this equation will have. So we have negative 7. Always put, anytime you square it, put the number in parentheses, and for minus 4 times a times c. So 49 plus 32, 81. This is a positive number, so there will be 2 real solutions to this equation. Next problem. So I see that a is positive 10. So I subtract 4. I have 10p squared minus p plus 1 equals 0. And so my a is 10. My b is negative 1. My c is positive 1. So let's use b squared minus 4 times a times c, the discriminant. Negative 1 squared minus 4 times 10 times 1. 1 minus 40, negative 39. So we have a negative number. So this results in 2 imaginary solutions to that equation. And the last example, so here it's already equals 0. A is 6. The b is always with just the variable by itself. So 4 times b, that's your b. And c, well, there is no c, but it actually is 0. So we have b squared minus 4 times a times c, 16. And I thought this was going to end up back being 0, but this again would be 2 real solutions. Moving on. 4f is solving a quadratic equation. So a quadratic equation, any equation in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, is considered a quadratic equation. And there are 4 different ways we're going to look at this year to solve this. First one is the quadratic formula. This is the only way that works every single time. Always works to to solve. We're going to actually solve by factoring also. This only works if you can factor the quadratic equation, or yes, the quadratic equation. Square roots, there's a special case for that also, and graphing only works if you have real rational solutions. Only with rational solutions. So let's move into this. So the first thing, we're going to use the quadratic formula. I know you've used it a little bit this year, but let's use it again. So the very first thing you have to do, make sure to get your equation into the form that will be used to then use the quadratic equation. So we have to move all the terms to one side, try to keep your a positive. So we move every term to one side. I have to move the -7 and the -5. We have a is 5, b is 5, and my c is 7. So now we're actually going to use the whole formula, which is x equals the opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So let's substitute each number in for the variable. Opposite of b, -5, plus or minus b squared, so 5 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So I simplify this down in the exact same order every single time. If I do 5 squared, I whatever squared there, and I do 4 times 5 times 7, which is 140, divided by 10. Moving back, keep going. -115 over 10. And then now I need to simplify. Always simplify this radical at this step. So let's see if we can break 115 down. It really doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter if it's negative. So we have 5 and 23. No, can't break it down. So the only thing I can do is this negative. Remember that square root of -115 is the same thing as the square root of -1 times 115. The square root of -1 is I. So we have -5 plus or minus I square root of 115 over 10. And because this term here, the I squared of 115, does not have a coefficient of 5, 10, 15, multiple of 5, we cannot simplify this any further. So this is your final answer. Moving on to factoring now. So the factoring, you're still going to set it equal to 0. You're still going to get it in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So plus 13. I know you guys are telling me that at home. So by factoring, we do a times c. Two numbers multiply with 40, that also add up to 13. And just happens to be 5 times 8 again. So let's use the Punnett square. First term, top left. Last term, bottom right. The two numbers that we found with middle terms variable. Take your greatest common factors out. The bottom is 8. The top is 5x. Top or the first column is x. Last column is just 1. Now the signs are anything different, so they're all positive. So we have 5x plus 8 and x plus 1, and this is going to equal 0. Now we got to look at how can we make, what numbers can we put in for each x that would make it, this equation equal 0. The easiest way to do this is just to break up the factors and set them both equal to 0. And solve for each one. So the first number that would make this equation equals 0 is negative 8/5. The next one, much easier to find, is negative 1. So all you need is one of these solutions or you need both to solve it. So both solutions here will solve. Square roots. So by square roots, there has to be no b present. So in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, this cannot be here. And if you notice that, this is a shortcut. So we still equal, oh, my bad. Scratch that. If there's no b, you get an ax squared by itself right away. So you can actually solve for x this way. Negative 37 over 4. And square root. When you take the square root, technically when you square root something, there's a positive and negative answer. So it's x equals positive and negative, so plus minus because you square rooted. And then since we have a negative number here, we're going to bring out an I. And 37 doesn't get broke down, cannot get simplified any further, but it's just over 4. So that's by square roots. And the last one is by graphing. We did this in class. I'll do it quickly again. To find the vertex, you have opposite of b over 2a, and that equals the x. So negative 16 over 2 times negative 2. And that is positive 4. So the x coordinate is positive 4. Substitute that into the x's. So you have 16, negative 32, plus 64 minus 30 is 32, 2. So the vertex is at 4, 2. From here, let's use the calculator to then other points. So I'm actually going to set up a t-chart here. So you have 4, 2. And then what you look for, the two numbers left and right of 4, 3, and 5, and substitute those both into the equation. You don't actually, if you don't want to substitute it in, you can actually use your calculator, which I'm about to show you. So here's your calculator, and if you go to the table, and you look at 3 and 5, really what you're looking for is where does the y equal 0. So you have 3 and 5. So 3, 0, and 5, 0. And when you draw it in, actually your solutions are right here. 3 and 5. So they're both at 0. So you're looking for where does the y equal 0. And these are your solutions. X equals 3 and x equals 5. Come to class with any questions on this. We'll be practicing this in class along with some other things. Thank you for listening.